So take it from the start. Did you hear anything?
I'm just gonna. Right, I think the stream is back on. Hit me with it. Okay. Welcome back to everyone. Sorry if you joined in here. There is a little miniature part beforehand which I recommend watching so that you know what's going on. But we had internet problems and we're kicking off again now. John, please entertain us with your theory that you were bringing.
All right. So during this last timeline, this before this time loop began or something, the one who was the victim, should I say, of the great Bauman's "You shall seek out evil and punish evil" spell was Peter the Groot, and and in the end, he ended up taking his own life, probably because he thought he was evil. So, since this during this timeline, this time loop, Flavio Esposito has been the target of the spell. Rudy is thinking of having an empathic talk with Flavio to see if he considers himself evil and if he is in danger by himself by taking his own life.
I like your thinking.
What is exactly doing right now? What is Flavio doing?
So Flavio is sat relaxing at his table. So they are sat. If you look at where the dining hall is, where it says dining hall, they're on the wall to the north, pretty much above the second N in dining. And you are sort of looking at them from a table below. You're sort of sat where the two, where De Groot and Van Beek were sitting. So you're a couple of meters away, and you can see them. They're relaxed back. They're sipping. They're both drinking wine, both red wine. Um, Flavio has got a cigar on, and Stefano is sort of. You can see he's sort of surreptitiously undone the button on his trousers. To he's had a fine meal. He's drinking. There's no ladies around, and he's sort of relaxing back a little bit, into himself. And the two of them are chatting about mostly about the day, about the two of you, about the talk that you gave at the symposium, and about how good it was, and how impressed they were at both of you.
Hmm. Perhaps Rudy won't make a move just yet, but he will have an eye on Flavio for sure for now.
Okay. Um, One thing that you can't cut out of your head, however, is the ongoing laughter of Claire Spelling from the table across. She is the one that's been
Ah,
hypnotized this evening by the great Bowman to keep laughing until he tells her to stop.
and
And
last time was Nancy Durand.
it was Nancy Durand, yes, who
But
you
I think we've already discovered that Nancy was paid to do it, right?
that is indeed what you came up with, yes.
So it's easy to assume that it's weird how one spell works, another doesn't. That's exactly what Rudy is writing in his notes right now. Um, he's looking around to see any of his colleagues, any of his friends, Tony or Gaston. Are they around?
They were in the snug. They had followed the great Bowman into the snug at this point. It's
So I don't see them
no,
right now.
no, not right now,
Mm,
as it stands.
no, he will refrain into keeping notes for now and observing before becoming extremely pompous as usually is.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So we shall leave Rudy there, watching over carefully Stefano and Flavio, and putting up with Claire Spelling's clearly forced laughter. Um, she again is sort of looking a little bit tired of it already around her eyes, very much in the same way that Nancy was. And we'll cut back to the snug, and the two of you um, the fire's on in the snug. The waiters, sort of the staff come in. They've got the timings right. They know that as people are finishing their desserts, they're into the snug to make sure the fire is going well at the far end of the room. The bar is open. It's quiet in there. There's just like the one barman in there. You have the two doors onto the balcony, which there's a couple of the day guests, the meal guests, have sort
Hmm.
of have wandered in, taken a drink, and sort of stood out on the bar. The view's not as good, but the view's of the town, so it's still quite pretty. And the other person that's just entered is Julian Peters, of course, the reporter has entered the snug as well. But other than that, it's quite empty in there.
Okay. I'm going to sort of try to orient myself a little bit because Julian Peters is coming to the snug. There are other people coming in as well and loitering around. Yes.
Yeah, they're what we would call like they're the no names. They're the people that have been coming in for
Sure.
for meal and stuff. Yeah.
So, if I step out onto the balcony, can I see the big hotel up the hill from there, or is it the wrong side of the building?
It is the wrong side. This side looks down. So Le Petit Grand is at the end, at this end of town. So you can look down across the winding roads and the other towns. The Carlton, of course, is up the hill around that twisty road, and it's the far end. So no, you cannot.
Okay. I'll step out there anyway, get a breath of fresh air, um, and do a quick scan around, see if there's anything suspicious going on in town that I actually can see. I suspect everything we need to know is actually inside this building at the moment, but that doesn't mean I'm going to completely rule out the possibility that there's someone lurking or closing in on the building or fleeing it.
Okay, please roll an education check, please, which is 1d6 plus your education score.
Excellent. 1 second. Okay, that is a terrible, terrible roll. That's a total of 5.
Oh, as you sort of look out, you're a few schnaps in, and the snow is coming down quite heavily. The flakes are quite large, and you can see it sort of settling, and it's getting quite fuzzy out there because of it. It's dark. It's 8:40 in the middle of winter, and all of that build up is purely to say that you do not see much of anything in the dark and the snow. After
Okay. Then I'm going to walk in and locate. Won't take too long, I hope, but locate Gaston, please.
Ewan's in there. It's up to Gaston where he is in the snug. Remember, there's some of those big high-backed chairs, the wing-back chairs, and sort of a few small tables and things. It's up to you where you are, Gaston.
Yeah, I'm going to walk over and say to Gaston, there are a few things that are confusing me.
Surely not you, Monsieur Tony, the great Tony of Tony and Rudi.
There is
Gets
there
out
is
his
one
pencil and his
thing
notepad.
in particular that I can't shake. You and I are both aware that this evening has happened before.
Yes, of course.
And Rudi is aware that this evening has happened before. But as
And
far
with
as
you?
we know, nobody else knows. So here's my question. What happened to us that didn't happen to anybody else? What point were we together but separate from everyone else when something could have been done to us?
That is an intriguing question. Something. Certainly not the food or the drink, I would imagine. Or the trousers. Only one of us suffered from a trouser catastrophe.
That's true. But
but not anymore.
So let's try to break this down as best we can. Possibility number one. There is some kind of magical artifact or sorcerer who is literally looping time. That's not sounding to me very likely, but that's possibly because I like things that I can see and touch, and Rudi can then punch for me. But there is another possibility. And maybe this isn't easy to achieve, but imagine everything we thought happened when we saw this day go through before was something that we were told had happened, but not something that actually happened. Maybe when we went to bed, say, we were hypnotized or drugged, and then the sequence of events that was going to play out was given to us in detail. So when we woke, we thought we'd already lived through that time. And then we actually lived through that time. But for that to work, whoever gave us those instructions would have to know exactly how today was going to go down.
Well, there have been small differences. Such a person wouldn't be able to control the behaviour of everybody. If this was the case, anybody whose actions were exactly as we thought they were going to be, surely would be the number one culprit, or number one on the suspect list.
Absolutely.
Anybody whose actions differed slightly, less so.
So, in essence, we therefore have the situation where they laid out how it was going to go, and then we played into this by making changes ourselves. We were told we were going to have, if imagine someone pitched us this and we were told we were going to have our starter on the outside bar deck. And then we decided to mess with that and have our starter inside. Well, everything that played out there was completely rational if we stayed inside. And we rejected having our starter outside because we wanted to change things up and see what altered. But there were a few things that, as you say, were nailed on, that didn't change. And that does bring me to the great Bauman, who seems to have played out his role exactly, word for word, moment for moment, second by second, exactly the way we were told he would. He did the same act. He refused to do the same act. He moved through the building exactly the way we were told. Other people have changed their patterns to some extent, but not him.
Yes, I see your point. His any changes in his actions were reactionary, or could have been reactionary, rather than because of changes that perhaps we'd affected or other people had affected on the situation. The people he hypnotized or did his act on obviously changed, but that was probably potentially out of necessity, I suppose.
Which obviously means we have to consider two immediate possibilities. One is that we were drugged and doped in some way, and that we therefore have lost no time at all, and this is just the first time we're playing through this day. The second is that this is still our very first set of instructions. In other words, what we're doing right now is playing through, while asleep, something that we're being programmed to do. And when we finally get a chance to change things for real, it might be day 3 for us rather than day 1 or 2. But if this is true, I've got to ask, why? Why us?
Yeah. Why any of it? Why here? Why now? Why? Well, I could understand why you and Mr. Rudi, but why me? Seems beyond my grasp at the minute.
And this is my confusion. This is the central part of my confusion. I understand certain things reasonably well. This is not one of those things. So, I'm tempted to try something that anyone programming us could not possibly have predicted that we would do. Something that cannot be undone. And then we'll find out if this is a reality or a drug-induced haze. But I can't think of a good example. Sadly.
I was worried for a moment you were going to do something drastic to your trousers. I was about to try and talk you down.
My trousers, I feel, have been drastic enough. I can't think of anything that we could do that would prove the point, because anything we could do is also something we could dream of doing and be told we were doing in a drug-induced haze. So
what if there was another option? What if we were able to gain access to some knowledge that we don't have, and also the person potentially behind all of this doesn't have as well?
It's a good point. You're right. It wouldn't have to be that complicated. Just something that we could check and then later verify. It could be as simple as walking up one of those streets a little way, around a corner, and seeing what color the front door is on the third house on the right. Whoever is doing this wouldn't know that information. So if we go and check that, we can then keep that information to ourselves and verify that it's real if this day happens again.
Yes, precisely. Or it's very easy to find out the names of the people in the hotel and the service staff and what we were going to be having for to eat, or the bar options, what was available to drink, but less so the names of, I don't know, Philip's parents.
And anything that would be tricky to achieve, anything that would move outside that reach of the controlled environment of this little hotel. Yeah,
it's certainly worth doing. Surely there's no there's no downside, and if it doesn't work, we've eliminated a possibility.
I mean, it will only be valuable if we wake up tomorrow and have the same day again, you understand? But it's at least worth the test. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to go and do some reconnaissance in the town. I'm going to pass by Rudi on the way out and let him know what I'm doing. But I'm going to go and take a wander through the town a bit and try to, if I can, explore a bit of St. Moritz that any potential manipulator wouldn't have any way of knowing I'd go and look for. Couldn't necessarily supply that information off the top of their head. And I can verify it quickly the following day.
Right.
So I'm going to go through to Rudi.
Okay, there's going to be a process to do all this because of what you're saying. Because they're, especially if your theory is correct or wrong, of course there is a process that needs to roll through. So as you sort of finish talking to Gaston, you turn to go and yes. So Gaston is left. Currently, he's left in there. He sees as before Julian Peters has taken up his seat in front of the fire as he did the night before, with a drink, and he sort of raises it and half nods to Gaston, who he recognises as a fellow reporter, albeit a different side. There's still a reporter's code, I suppose. The doors to the balcony are sort of still pushed to, and there's still one or two left out there. But while your conversation was happening, a couple had wandered back through to the dining room and off out of view, maybe home, maybe to the outside bar. Who knows? But they're out of view. And the snug's feeling, even in that 15 minutes of talk, whatever, the snug has become darker, more subdued. The fire's died down a little bit. There's the one man behind the bar who you see by name. You've heard his name before. Midge Smidgen is the man that works behind the bar. As you sort of go and you leave, as you leave Gaston behind, and you go through the one door and through the hallway, you can still hear the two. You can hear Van Beek and De Groot sort of laughing and sort of good-natured banter at each other over a bad shot that one of them has just played in billiards. So you can tell they're still in there. And you enter into the dining hall. In the dining hall, the first thing you hit by is the laughter of Claire Spelling, which is painful by this point. A glance in the direction would see pleading eyes, and sort of attempting to take sips of drink to sort of rehydrate her throat. You see the two Esposito brothers chatting, looking incredibly relaxed now, with a few empty glasses around the table, which Rudi will have been noting. They've been drinking quite heavily in those sort of. They've already had a few drinks in that sort of 20 minutes. They're hammering it pretty much. Apart from that, the dining hall now, as you enter, is similarly dark and empty. The waiting staff have sort of been. The remainder of the waiting staff have cleared the tables, reset tables ready for the next morning. Changed the tablecloths. Cleared away food and drink and such like. And apart from that, there is no one left to be in the dining hall. The day eaters have gone, like I say, to the outside bar or out of sight. You can't see or hear many. And the lights have been turned down to all just a fire and one small light to the north as you look at it of the dining hall, because that's where the people are clustered, really. And it really does feel like the world is closing in a little bit, I guess. It's the end of the evening, and at the end of the evening, things always feel a little bit more intimate. But the one man that you would love to spend intimate time is indeed Rudi Otto, who is sat at the table and notices you as you enter.
You will see, if I may, you will see Rudi jotting down in his massive notepad, like so many notes, while also being observant of the Flavio Esposito. He has turned his chair and directly looking at the Esposito brothers at the moment, and jotting down notes like crazy. If you and not drinking, actually, he has like a half finished snaps or whatever he's drinking, but you can clearly see when he's all in drinking and when he's not, and right now he's not. And when you come closer, you will see that he has on his notes a lot of theories. By the titles, you may find that great minds think alike, because he has a lot of similar theories, such as yourself. One is called like magic, has underneath some notes. One is like conned slash social engineered. Another is drugged. Another is we have gone mad. Is this a dream? Many theories. Underneath the theories, he has a diagram, like a sort of a table, like an I mean Excel table, like rows and the things, and he has on the left side the names of those who have been the victims, the targets of the Great Bauman. And Luke, you can help me from forgetting anyone. On the middle, it is the essence of the spell, what's supposed to be, and on the right, what clues do they have, whether they are false or mistaken. But before you get a good look at them, he will probably notice you, almost like friendly, but grab you from the arm and said, "Ah, yes, Tony, please sit down. There are many things that I need to share with you."
I will abort my immediate plan to step outside on the basis that it's not specifically time sensitive, and I will do exactly that. I will pull up a chair.
As you see on this diagram over here, I have on the left side the names of those who have been the victims of the Great Bauman's spells, or so it appears. You see the names Rudi, Gaston, De Groot, and Nancy, and also Flavio, Claire, and I think am I forgetting anyone, Luke?
That's the lot. So the first night was indeed Nancy,
Yes,
Gaston,
let's
and
categorize
Peter.
them by.
Yep.
It was Gaston, Nancy, and Rudi was the third.
It was Gaston. It was Gaston, Nancy, and Peter the first night.
Ah, okay. So the second night is Flavio, Claire,
And Rudi.
Rudi.
Yes.
Interesting. So as I was a bit out of game, I was a bit confused. I think the first time was Rudi. He said the hangover, and that's how he didn't have the hangover because of the loop.
No, this has happened. This has just happened. This was just said for this time. You just got lucky last time because Rudi was hammered that night, and he fell asleep with his trousers around his ankles in the middle of the bed. And but
kind of remembers.
Yes, but he woke up, of course, without a hangover because, of course. But today was when he was told he would not have a hangover for tomorrow, as it stands.
I remember, like this time, Rudi stopped drinking at least as much as he did last time.
Yeah, that's a different.
Maybe purposely, he stopped drinking to be certain. But you will see that. Do remind me, where is Gaston? Is Monsieur Delarue around? Because I want to inquire him about the whole thermal spell that he was under the influence last time. What did he tell you? Was it true? He really felt his thermal energy, his temperature change.
I spoke with Gaston about it, and he told me that he was paid money to be part of the act.
So that's another one. That's an X. Same way, we've also discovered the same proposition with Nancy Durand, and we can maybe narrow it down to the laughter of Claire. at the moment he wants to take a look at and like sense motive of Claire's laughter, if that's a role that I can make for Rudy. Check if her laughter seems fake or not.
I'll tell you what, roll an education for me now, please.
Can I add occult?
I'll tell you what, you.
You've broken the gem.
He's stuck in a loop.
I'll allow it because of the occult, the link to hypnosis, whether you know it'll be true hypnosis or not. Yes, take a roll.
All right, so I'm rolling with a +4 and 6. Ooh, that's a 10. I should
Okay.
have a good estimation.
Especially after seeing Nancy last time, you are probably more than 90% sure that Claire is faking it.
All right.
Not enjoying having to fake it.
So, the thing that confuses me is that on the first Friday, the first day that we've experienced, it ended up with Dr. Peter de Groot ending his own life, presumably because he considered himself being evil. Now, I don't think there are enough money in this world to pay someone to take their own life in the sake of a parlor trick. So, if someone does indeed possess magical abilities, theoretically, why would he pay half of his cast to as a con man and then use an actual magic trick spell rather on someone else? So I don't think it goes both ways, whether he would be a con artist or a actual spellcaster. And if he is already paying people, we can narrow it down that he's a con artist. So why did Peter the Groot take his own life? And the second question, my dear Tony, is that is Flavio Esposito in danger as himself right now, tonight?
It's a good question. Okay, so give me that list of names again from the first night.
Yes, look over here. He shows him like over there.
Okay, so the first night we had Nancy and obviously Gaston, but we also had Peter. And one way or another, the first night we have to assume isn't real. And we know the first night isn't real because we're currently living it again and Peter's still alive. We know that what happened with Nancy and presumably Claire is purely fake. So, there are a couple of possibilities.
Can I ask one more thing, the GM out of game?
Of course.
Again, memory does not serve me out of game very well. I think Bauman offered money to Rudi as well. Or am I mistaken?
He didn't offer to you because he sees, from what you could tell, he saw you a bit differently. He sort of fobbed you off a little bit more. He gave a sort of a smile, almost like a smile and a wink to you, and just said, "Tomorrow you won't be hungover." Rudi did not go for. If you remember, night one, both nights, Rudi was quite abrasive about it, right? Rudi didn't believe in him, did he? So
no, I think he tried to expose him.
yeah.
Rudely so. Rudely.
Rudely.
Rudely so. He shouts for the waiter and says, coffee on table 4 or whatever the table number is.
Yes, very good, sir. Coffee. I shall bring it over immediately, sir.
And I will do a favor to Bauman this time to be sober on my own volition, not his. This riddle needs solving. And so remind me again, Tony, who did saw uh, Peter the Groot ending his life? We need more details.
I was following him outside the hotel. He
Mhm.
was making his way up towards the hotel at the top of the hill, the
Carry
rather
on.
smarter Carlton Hotel. And at a certain point, he stopped and killed himself right in front of me and
Describe it with
right in front of my
as much
trousers.
detail as possible. What exactly did you see? Did you see a knife inside, plunging inside his flesh?
Yes,
Which would have been a prop, like a theater prop. I've seen many of those, like in uh, whatever it could be. Try to imagine if there were any possibilities that would have been faked.
that, I mean, it could have been possible because I never had the chance to properly examine the body, because it was immediately after that that suddenly and unexpectedly I was back here and the evening began. You know, there was no moment to, there was absolutely no moment to actually follow that down.
Is it possible that you have been hmm, rudely, again very rudely, he examines? He examines the back of his head, Tony's head, to see if he has any bump. Is it possible that maybe someone hit you very hard? I've seen many people who have been concussed by through during my boxing days, and they forgot entire evenings. Perhaps the time that you saw it, someone hit you with a glove on the back of your head, and maybe you have experienced some memory loss. Well, does he have anything that could be considered?
Roll education, please.
Oh boy! Oh, that's a one. Maybe I'm pulling your chair.
Yeah, as
She's not a doctor after all. Yeah.
Tony briefly enjoys the fondling on the back of the head before you catch your fingers in the hair somewhat and yank a few out, and you can't feel a bump, but who knows, you know.
He's moving around with his big finger,
Yeah.
making you. There must be somewhere something here. Making you. Does this hurt? Tell me, does this hurt?
Okay, I need that and that. um, it looked pretty convincing to me, but you're right. It could have been a staged event.
It's the only thing that we cannot be certain for real. It's the only thing that truly deeply confuses me. All the other things could be, and some of them are explained with someone getting paid, con artistry. The man ending his life. It's hard to explain, isn't it?
There are a number of possible things. Among those are, imagine you are the great bowman.
Nah, I cannot fill his shoes. That's a degrading thought.
Okay.
But yes, let's continue for the
But
sake of
the
argument.
great bowman, a person with a towering reputation, who, as far as we are aware, is nothing but a con artist and charlatan. Maybe he sees an opportunity to get his reputation bolstered by creating a set of events so magical that we could be witnesses to his prowess. That he can do something in front of us that nobody can explain. And then we will be called upon to testify to his powers. That's a possibility. But I'm concerned more than that we may be part of somebody's alibi or somebody's crime. What if at the end of this trip something really monstrous happens and almost none of us can provide useful testimony because we either accepted a bribe to fake something or because our recollections are unreliable? What if there's some murder, some assassination going to take place and we're being set up to be unable to help the authorities or even to take the blame for it?
Whereas us drinking as much as we had up to this moment certainly won't help. And he takes a large sip from his coffee. We need to sober up. We need to have our minds in. Where is Gaston? We need to be together. This is a dangerous time. Perhaps even Gaston's lives might be in danger. Gaston! Where are you, Gaston? Right.
I'll fetch him. Don't worry. I'll fetch him. Keep an eye
I
on
will keep an
Flavio.
eye on Flavio, yes.
Keep an eye on Flavio, and try to endure Claire, and I will go and fetch Gaston. And I will leap up and head back towards the snug, please.
Okay. After you go, Rudi, you notice that Claire looks over to you and she stands up and she's still laughing like a drain. Monsieur Rudi, do you mind if I sit down with you for a short time? Short time.
You actually, but sure. He should be a gentleman. He makes some room in his table for her to sit. He hides his notes, his theory notes. Can I offer you some coffee, perhaps?
I was wondering if a gentleman as yourself could lead could lead me to my room. I'm tired and overcome, and feel I maybe have had too much to drink to safely make it myself. Mr. Otto, could you please escort me to my room?
Rudi Otto seems clearly that he doesn't want to do that. He's looking around to find some, some young lad that is like younger than him, and someone that could do something chivalrous as such. He's clearly looking above, behind his back, 360 vision to find anyone else, like Jean Durand maybe.
Gone. The only people in the dining hall are you, Claire, and the Espositos. And
then he has an idea. Perhaps we should go over to the Esposito's table and yes, follow me, dear. Follow me.
she looks rather desperately at you, and sort of quite tiredly at you, I guess. And before she sort of lowers her head a little, says, "I suppose I suppose I could do that if we're not intruding."
He then whispers to her, unless there is something else that you want to tell me about, in which case I will not be surprised. But it can wait. Other things that are of importance right now.
Roll a charisma, please, with an occult.
7.
And that's with everything added on?
I did everything.
Yes. As she sort of quietens down and she sort of leans in close to you, and she says, I, uh, I, uh, Mr. Otter, you, I know of, I know of your skills and your backgrounds. Um, if 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 I can be alone with you for a second, uh, I can talk more freely.
I think we should rather visit the Esposito stable. Perhaps Stefano is willing to escort you.
Okie dokie. She she silently nods and is led over to by you to the Esposito table, and the two gentlemen who are sat drinking sort of turn round to you, both quite drunk at this point. Oh, Miss Otto, we were just talking about you.
Oh,
That answer you
my
gave
friend.
was top notch, top notch, top notch. Please pull up a
My
chair.
friends.
Pull up a
He's still
chair.
standing and he leans over them, his massive figure, and one hand in each of the two brothers' shoulders, and says, oh, my friends, so good to see you. He's like pretending to be drunk, maybe or something, to to catch the same flow with them, and
Mm-hmm.
then says, "I'm afraid I have to ask Stefano to have to ask for your chivalry, for your good manners and gentlemanry. Yes, this poor woman, Claire Spelling, requires a dashing young man to escort her to her chambers. She is quite drunk and under the influence, of course, of a spell. But fear not, Stefano, because I will be taking care, keeping a good eye on your dear Flavio over here. My good friend. And he shakes him up a bit like he's a child or something.
Right, I'm going to roll for Stefano. Stefano surreptitiously reaches under the table, sort of buttons his trouser back up again, sucking his stomach in a little bit to ensure it fits back in, and then pats himself down. Of course, it would be a delight to take such an uh, intelligent academic to her room. Make sure she's fresh for tomorrow. Of course, I'm looking forward to what you have to share with us, Miss Spelling. And Claire starts.
What a gentleman! What a hero of the people, truly hero of the academia world.
uh, Stefano nods and he offers Claire Spelling his arm, I guess, and she nods, and while still sort of laughing, she reaches out to it. As she walks past you, Rudi, she she sort of whispers into your ear. She says, "Are you getting a sense of déjà vu, Mr. Otto?" And
Hmm.
before she's taken away by Stefano through the corridor and out of sight, leaving you with Flavio.
His big, Otto's big smile briefly diminishes. There's like a very confused look, but then clears his throat, turns around and says, "My dear Flavio, do you know what I enjoy most when I'm quite intoxicated and invigorated? I enjoy talking about mortality and morality. You see, how do you feel looking around if you're still under the same spell? When you look around, do you still see evil? Do you see evil right now in this very room? And dare I ask, do you see evil when you look at me?"
Mm. Um, Flavio drains the rest of his glass and he pauses for a second and he thinks. He says, "Otto, there is a lot of evil in this world. It's very evil times. These this decade has been long and deadly, and there has been great evil spreading across Europe. I have hope and confidence that the 1940s will be a more peaceful time,
Mm.
but as it stands now, there is indeed a great evil um, in this town, in this country, and indeed this entire continent.
Yes, but what about this dinner, this dining hall, this table?
I did you not see? I spotted the pickpockets who had taken um, the wallets. They're evil in their souls. I pointed it out. That was the greatest point of evil that I felt this evening. Sat at this table now. Are you asking me if you are evil, Herr Otto?
Or perhaps should what would you see if you stared at the dinner? Sorry, mirror right now that you are under the spell.
I I would not know, Herr Otto. I'm sure, like you, speaking man to man, of course, as we are. I am. There are things I've done in life that I am not proud of. There are times that I've let myself down, as I'm sure you are the same. And I feel there may be evil in all of us to some extent. Do you not think?
Of course, and every man no man is without sin. But what matters is what we do with what we do to repent for our sins, how we become better men day by day. So if you feel that have done anything wrong, tonight is not the night to seek justify it. You understand what I'm talking about?
Of course, Otto. Do you remember? I don't know if you are a religious man, Otto, but do you remember childhood teachings of the time where our Lord spent 40 days in the desert and was tempted by Lucifer?
Yes, I am vaguely familiar with the story. I wasn't born in a Catholic school. I wasn't raised in a Catholic school nor family, rather a caravan. But I know the story. But do prove your point. Tell your point.
I, he was tempted to he was he was tempted to test God, to was shown the kingdoms of earth, was tempted with food and drink, and all by proving himself pure and holy, whether to eat or bow down to the devil, or to throw himself off the mountainside for angels to save him. Do you not feel that we're all tempted at times, are we not, Otto? That evil does walk among us.
Do you feel that you have been recently tempted by a certain figuratively or not evil yourself?
It's something I've only been thinking about since uh, the great Bowman spoke over me. It's weighed heavily on me this last hour or so.
Did you had a private talk with him
Roll a
before or after the spell?
roll a charisma for me, please. This is a tough roll, please.
That's charisma.
You can have occult with it as well, but it's going to be a 9 to succeed.
Hmm. 7.
Okay. You see him shut down a little bit, and he says, "No, the great bellman just spoke over me what you would all have heard."
Hmm. Because you see, he pretends to look around suspiciously. Claire shared with me that she was approached by Great Mauman and offered a great sum in order to keep this performance she had all night going on and on.
That is, I'm not surprised hearing her laughter. Did you not notice her stop a few times? She's a
Yes,
terrible. She's a great botanist, but a terrible actress.
yes, indeed. Uh,
And how about
and
you, Herr Otto? Were you paid also to remain sober for the morning?
why do you think I'm drinking coffee all this time now?
uh, if only I had been offered the same. I can always
Well,
do with
you
more money.
haven't. You haven't.
Um, roll one more charisma for me, please.
I have to take it out of him.
You do.
No, even less. Now it is 6.
No, I was not paid at all,
Mm.
Mr. Herr Otto. I was not paid.
Well, I have to return to my colleagues, but I think you should return to your quarters. May I escort you as soon, or perhaps you can join me and my companions?
I've. He sort of looks down at his glass. He says, I still have most of this glass. I'm going to sit by the fire here for 5 minutes, finish my glass alone. I have a lot to think about, but if you and your colleagues are still together, I saw them head out. Are they in the billiards room or
Yes.
snug, perhaps?
Yes, I've asked my friend Mr. Guerrero to bring Mr. De La Rue here. Perhaps we should all share our final drink for tonight, whether that be coffee or whatever you're drinking. It's on me, your final drink. Uh, Waiter, bring another round of whatever he was having over here.
It is Philippe. He comes over and he looks at Flavio, and Flavio nods. He says, "Very good. Another large wine, sir. Another large wine. And for you, Monsieur Otto."
And an Irish coffee, please.
Ah, very good. Very good. Will it just be the two of you, sirs, here by the fire?
No, we shall be joined pretty soon by Tony and Mr. Guerrero and Mr. De La Rue. Where are they?
Then I shall.
Should be
I
arriving
shall.
by now.
I shall bring their leftover bottle of schnapps as well, sir. And he scurries off and sort of into the kitchen, leaving just you and Flavio, moving over towards the table by the fire as we rejoin the snug posse.
Mm-hmm. So when I arrive into the snug, can I see Gaston there?
Yeah, Gaston is sat, I'd imagine. Gaston?
Gaston, I wanted to,
Oh,
when I was left, if possible,
yes.
approach Julian Peters' table.
Yes. Come and sit down. These are lovely wingback chairs, are they not? These are slightly overstuffed, I feel, but the leather is splendid.
Thank you, Monsieur Peters, and he'll sit down and he'll take his notebook and his pencil out of his pocket and put it on the table, and somewhat journalist code off the record. He'll
It's
push
the
it
code.
a little bit further away from him and say,
Of course, it's the code.
no notes taken between fellow journalists. So tell me, Mr. Peters, are you here to cover the symposium?
Yes, time is. Things are busy, of course, in Europe, but I was very fortunate in that I was selected to come and cover the symposium, and unfortunately, of course, the Carlton Hotel was filled quickly. But I'm guessing the same as you. They found space where I could be close nearby, and it's a very pleasant hotel, don't you think?
It really is. It's quite lovely. Quite lovely. And I'll look out towards the balcony. Good views. A lovely scenery. Very nice setting.
Good views, good food, good drink, and generally good company, I would say.
Indeed. So no other big stories. Nothing else you're interested in.
Well, could you roll um, let's go with charisma. You're just sort of schmoozing here, so let's go for some charisma. And he's of a similar class, so I can't hit a chat of all trades with you, unfortunately.
That's fair. That is a 4 plus 3 is a 7.
Um, Not so much. It's mostly for the symposium. It's been an enjoyable week so far, and I'm looking forward to the remaining days. I'm sure you are too, Monsieur Delarue. Does it seems new to me that ce soir are reporting on this. They've never sent someone before to such a symposium.
And he sort of chuckles under his breath a little bit. They're looking forward to the coming days. Keeps it to himself, and he looks over each shoulder and leans in and he says, "Well, I'm somewhat familiar with Monsieur Rudi Otto and Tony Guerrero. So really, I'm here to get some information from them and to write a report on them. But between you and me, something I wouldn't say bigger, but something certainly more interesting has fallen into my lap. Tell me, did you see the great Bowman's show earlier?
I did, and I saw his levitation last night. The man is definitely a fine showman, a fine showman. Whether I fully believe him is beside the point. He certainly seems to take the crowd in the palm of his hand, and I think that's a skill within itself. Do you not feel?
It is. It certainly is. It certainly is. I was very disappointed as Monsieur Tony was as well that we missed the levitation trick. But yes, he certainly is he puts on a fine performance. I have it on good authority as well that he has some deep pockets. If you catch my drift, sit back in this chair.
Interesting. What do you? And he sort of pulls his notebook and his pencil out and puts it on the table and slides it towards, and then before pushing the conversation, he sort of motions over to Midge Smidgen at the bar, who nods and immediately sort of brings over a couple of brandies, who lays them out on the table. And Peter sort of nods to them and nods to you. He says, deep pockets, you say? I'm interested.
Thank you. He'll raise the glass and take a sip. Well, between you and I have it on good authority that not all of his hypnosis is purely down to his spiritual tricks. I have a couple of people willing to come forward off the record again, but it's certainly making for an interesting weekend for me.
This is quite the accusation, Monsieur Delarue. That would suggest that either the the Dutchman, the Dutch brother, or your colleague, or misspelling, has indeed been, shall we say, fingered for and their palms filled.
Well, you know as well as I do that us journalists just report the facts as we're giving them. There's no accusations from me. Certainly not yet. Let's. I'll just say that I have it on the authority of more than one person.
Fascinating, Monsieur Delarue. I feel you're saying this because you're happy for me to take an interest in such a thing. You see, I have to phone my paper. I'm expecting an important phone call early tomorrow morning.
In the morning.
Where I need to, catch up and so on and so forth. But if you're free at breakfast, we could potentially share any further information that we gather this evening, or what we could look into over the rest of the weekend if you were interested. The funny times for the left and the right to be working together, perhaps, but it would definitely be an interesting tale. Do you not think?
Yes, I think I could find that very agreeable.
Okay. Well, I would, like I say, I shall be up early for my call, but I shall be down for the first serving of breakfast. I shall take a table by the window in the corner, and if you wish to talk more, I shall be there then.
Well, thank you. Nothing too serious. I hope from the paper in the morning.
No, I've just been told it's an important call. These things happen. I'm sure it's the same for you at ce soir. Updates, important information,
yes.
so on and so forth.
Of course.
Now,
well, thank you.
No, you're welcome. If you'll excuse me, he sort of drains the rest of his brandy and stands up and sort of opens his pocket watch, sort of into sort of the 9:30s or something. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to get an early night. I have a lot to do tomorrow. Busy day tomorrow. I'm sure you do too, Monsieur Delarue.
Indeed. But once again, thank you for the brandy.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Sleep well. Pleasant dreams. As Peters leaves, he sort of stands up and leaves, and you sort of see Tony re-enter the snug. We shall take a 5-minute break, and we can reconvene for the rest of the evening.
Brilliant, thank you.
Perfect.
So, dear viewers, we shall be back shortly. Please don't go anywhere, but empty your bowels and your whatever you need to do, and fill your glasses. And this is why I never give speeches at weddings.
Unaccustomed as you are to public speaking.
But don't go away anywhere. We'll be back in a few minutes. All right. Cheers, all.
See you in a mo.
Yeah, not at the same time. Well, saves time. But that's the music on. Let's turn you off. Hello, welcome back to part 2 of the Tony and Rudi adventures. Brackets featuring Gaston. Close brackets. We're back with our 3 heroes in this splendid little hotel in St. Moritz. It's the night. Let's say the night is definitely coming in now. It's dark outside. They can see through the windows. The snow is now falling heavily. A lot of the lights downstairs are off. The noise that you'd heard in the billiard room has definitely quietened down. You would assume, but you cannot prove, that Van Beek and de Groot have indeed gone to bed, from what you can tell. Tony, as you walk back through into the snug, it's quietened down. As you go in, it's just Gaston and Peters is sort of passes you as you enter. He's off to bed, so leaving just you and Gaston in the snug with the barman Midge Smidgen, who is seeing that it's quietening down, is sort of closing down the bar. Sort of been open for a short time. Where we left the dining hall, it is just Rudi and Flavio sat by the fire. They've had their drink. By the time you've got into the snug, the drinks have already come. Rudi's Irish coffee, Flavio's wine, and a bottle of schnapps there for Tony and Gaston if they wish to return. It is dark. The staff seem to be nowhere to be seen now. Just like one or two of them from what was a busy lot. It is very much entering that stage of the evening as we join Tony as he enters that very quiet snug.
So I shall wander straight over to Gaston.
Tony, Mr. Tony.
Good evening, monsieur. I feel we've been neglecting Mr. Otto. He has been keeping an eye on various potential people that we should help him with.
Yes. Sorry, my apologies. I just had some work to negotiate. Are we joining him? Is he where?
I think we should join him. Yes, he is concerned about the safety of at least one person and the sanity of another.
Well, in that case, lead on.
Excellent,
my good man.
So, on the way out, can I catch the eye of the bar staff?
You can. Midge Smidgen will, as the two of you are the last in the room, so as you're leaving, he'll definitely nod to you and wish you a good night.
Can I say a large Armagnac, please?
I'll have to fetch the bottle from the kitchen, sir. Would you are you going to your room or to the dining room?
The dining room initially.
I shall bring it over for you, sir. And anything for you, sir?
No, not for me just now. But if you could deliver a bottle of champagne and 2 glasses to my room, that would be much appreciated.
He sort of winks at you. Ah, very good, sir. Very good. And he sort of nods and gives Tony a smile. Very good, sirs. This is the 30s after all, sirs. We're very modern here at the hotel. I shall get to it, sirs.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Said together, beautiful.
And I shall wander back through to the dining hall, please.
And all because the lady loves milk tray.
Okay. The two of you head through. I'm assuming you're going as well, Gaston.
Yes.
And
will follow.
the hallway, as you go through quickly one door to the other, the hallway with the billiard room is now dark. People have rooms. As you would know, Gaston, you sleep down here. There are bedrooms down here, and so it's quiet. You sort of hear a flush of the toilet upstairs and some feet on the stairs, but that's in the distance. Otherwise, it's dark and quiet. And the two of you enter into the dining hall, which by now is shadowly dark. The crackling fire is dying. It's not been attended to for a short time, as the service staff are hoping for it to, go to embers before long. You see, as you walk in, the table that the three of you ate at earlier now has Rudi and Flavio sat at, and the one light that was in the dining hall is now behind them to their back, so the only light you really see of them is the flickering of the flames on their faces as they sit at the table. Rudi appears to be drinking another coffee, and obviously staying very sober this evening.
Mhm.
And Flavio is sipping at a red wine, and the two of them are there. You can't even see to the end of the room by now. Do you know what I mean? It's that dark out there, and it's that quiet that it suddenly feels incredibly intimate. It's like the world has shrunk in. It's the end of the evening, as I've said before. It's that the world has shrunken into your table and your table alone.
Okay. Well, then I will cross over and join Rudi and Flavia.
Flavio looks up slightly bleary-eyed. Ah, Monsieur Guerrero, are you joining us?
I am, sir.
Pull up a chair. Pull up a chair. What an evening it's been, don't you think?
It has been a fascinating evening.
Well,
Truly.
no one died yet.
Are you expecting death, Otto?
Well, someone across this planet that we live on will die tonight. Another will be born. That's the circle of life, of course.
Ah, the Wheel of
But-
Fortune.
Yes, yes. But he turns to Tony with a serious look and says, "No one did die, right?"
If so, not anywhere near my trousers.
That's doubly fortunate then. How about Gaston? Did you find him? Is he coming?
He's right behind me.
Oh, there he is. Yes, yes. I need to show him my notes. Over here by the campfire. Over here by the by the hearth.
Yes. And Gaston will join them. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Thank you,
met,
Rudi. Thank you for the welcome. I
met Mr. Esposito.
Ah. Hello, Monsieur Delarue, I believe. That pleasure.
The pleasure is all mine, sir.
You're much pastier in the flesh than your picture.
More pasty than the black and white. I do get told that more often than you would imagine. May I join you?
By all the means.
Mm-mm. So,
Thank you.
take a look at these notes while you sit and relax. My friend Gaston, he shows him his diagrams and his theories and the stuff I discussed earlier. And then he makes like a circle connecting the Groot dying and the spell of detect evil, and then circling it to Flavio and dying question mark has been paid question mark. Is he in danger question mark? And like makes a circle out of them to pinpoint where he should pay attention when he gives those notes to Gaston. it should brief him up about what's going on at least.
Gaston will pull the pencil and he'll pull his notepad out and he'll put his notepad down and look over at Rudi and say, "May I just briefly?" And he'll hold up the pencil.
Yes, of course.
And he won't say it out loud, but he'll write down next to De Groot's name. He'll write down when De Groot came knocking at the window, was it?
Yes, he did.
He said that we'd been cursed by that man, I believe. And so Gaston will just write that down in speech marks next to De Groot's name. Slide it back over to Rudi. I think I understand your notes. But of course, both the great Tony and Rudi are far more intelligent than I. But it seems this all seems about right.
As you're sat there, Midge Smidgen comes out of the kitchen and makes his way over. He's got just what you've ordered, an Armagnac, Tony, a large one, it appears.
Excellent.
And he's also got the champagne in glasses, which you would assume he will sort of move on to. And as he walks towards you, it's dark, and in the darkness he trips, and the glass of Armagnac flies through and crashes into the crotch of Tony Guerrero, splattering all over his trousers.
My fourth best trousers.
Monsieur Guerrero, I'm so sorry.
You have a magnet down there. How is this possible? It is the greatest mystery of all of cafes. How is this possible? I've known you for years. Why does this keep happening?
I'm so sorry. I can get them washed for you for the morning, sir. If you wish, I can take them now and get them washed for the morning. I'm so sorry.
I would need to return to the hotel room to retrieve replacement trousers. You know, it's dark, it's late, it'll wait.
If you leave them outside the door, sir, when you go to bed, I can take them and return them for the morning, sir.
Thank you. I would appreciate that.
You know what? Through our experiences, my friend, I don't know your name. What's your name, my friend? To the waiter.
My name's Smidgen, sir. Smidgen.
Well, my friend Smidgen, rest assured that this is not your fault. That man down there has a magnet that only magnetizes alcoholic beverages. Has happened over a dozen times. I know pretty well. So not your fault. It's entirely someone else's fault. Whether that'll be divine magic or otherwise, or scientific explanation behind it, I cannot know. But he turns as if he talks now to his company, not to the staff of the hotel anymore. But to my experience, when this happens, it's something else is foreboding right around the corner. So I would suggest, since I see Flavio has enjoyed his last drink with me, I would suggest we all go towards our rooms together instead of dividing up. It has been all nights I tried to get us all together, and now that I won't let a pair of trousers being drenched all over your pants again to divide us. So how about we take it all upstairs?
Hello, lollygags. By the way, we're typing wildly. Lots of people joining us saying hello. There's so many of them. Thank you, the cat, Shadizi, Mela, lollygaggers. You joined us. Lol Monogatari. You've joined us at a good time. Tony's just had booze spilt all over his trousers. The night
Again.
is again. It's tradition. Um, the night is coming to an end, and our three heroes are sat at a table by the fire with Flavio Esposito. And Rudi has come up with a wise idea for them all to retire together. I'm guessing not to the same bed, Rudi. It's not that sort of evening you're planning, is it?
I don't think we need to keep an eye on him up until he sleeps. But Rudy will escort him, grab him by the shoulder, like a hand like this, and maybe sing a Dutch song that he has learned during his caravan days about, I don't know, something Dutch. And let's go all up upstairs. La, 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 la.
um, Flavio follows you. Are you all getting up and going, or is it just Rudi and Flavio? Flavio will happily walk up with a hand clapped on his shoulder.
I'm going to quietly mention to Rudi that
Mhm.
I'm going to leave the hotel briefly, but I'll be coming back to the room before too very long.
Are you mad? Oh, I've been trying so hard to keep us all together, so none of us dies in the dark. Just had fate itself has spilled wine over your trousers as a warning. What could it be? What could be the reason?
I want to find out if I can make it all the way to the Carlton Hotel without someone dying.
The place that you saw Peter the dude the Groot dying.
Yeah.
Parallelly, he continues, and all the time, no, I don't think this is a good idea. Let us please just take this man upstairs, and then we can all go together to that hotel.
Okay. If you think that's wise, I will take your judgment in this matter because you are frankly wise to danger in a way that I think I never am.
You enjoy you're a very daring do personality, my dear Tony. But I want to see if my theory. I want to disprove my theory that someone is going to die tonight. And I will take all the necessary steps I can to prevent it from happening. So let's let's see. Let's see how it happens. If it
Okay. All right. Then in that case, I will accept that I'm not going to be able to get a glass of Armagnac into the throat tonight. And I will.
You had it into the groin. That's second best.
It's not even close
Cuts
to
out the
second
middleman.
Exactly.
It's not even 14th best.
It was only going to come out that way later on anyway. So
It would be better leaving it in the bottle, frankly. But I shall stay with Rudi and head upstairs.
with Flavio, I take it. Gaston, are you going with or?
Gaston will leave the area with them. Yeah, he picks his head up. He's been writing all of the whole wine exchange down into his notebook. It's full of golden quotes of magnets in his trousers, and the universe has sent him a stained sign to the crotch. And he'll close up his notepad and pencil and put it in his top pocket. And please lead on, Tony, Rudi.
So as you head up the stairs, Flavio is leaning heavily against you, Rudi. You taking me to bed? Up the wooden hills to sleepy land I go. You're so lovely, too. You're like my heroes. My heroes. Or your wonderful adventures. Do you still have the bracelet? Do you still have the bracelets? Mary's braces between you and me, and just
Ah,
the
gentleman,
walls.
gentleman never tells. Now, shush now, shush now. He will strokes his hand gently and opens his door, unlocks his
Well,
door for him.
which door are you which door are you putting him into? Ah,
Um,
there's
number 8,
uh,
I suppose, yes.
good luck with that upstairs.
Yeah,
Why?
number eight's downstairs.
Why are we upstairs? What, are we upstairs? I don't remember coming upstairs before.
Yes, all of us have trooped upstairs together, despite the fact that two of us sleep downstairs.
Why- why-
Right, maybe you change Tony's trousers first, and then you go to sleep. But you can sleep
Mr.
in
Esposito.
Tony's room. You can sleep in Tony's room. I don't
Okay.
mind. It'll be closer to us.
Can I sleep in the? Can I wear Tony's first best trousers as well as a special treat? I could pretend that I'm Tony and I could do brave feats of daring do.
Yes, you're very brave.
Well,
You're very
very,
brave.
very, 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 very brave.
Sleep now. Sleep now over here.
So where have you put him on Tony's side of the bed?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
He tells to Tony. He tells to Tony, whispers, "It would be safer if we keep a close eye on him."
I stare at the drunken Flavio and with a completely blank expression. It's like, excellent.
Mr. Esposito, before you go to sleep, could I get a quote for the papers about your two heroes, Tony and Rudi?
Tony and Rudi. They smell so nice.
Oh, that's it.
Hardly.
Thank you.
And then just hear, oh, whoopsie. I guess I should have gone to the toilet first.
I will
Well-
turn to Rudi and say, your prediction was correct. Someone is going to die tonight.
Well, let us see the positive side. I believe that we just saved someone's life. Let's focus on the positives, and now together let's head on and follow your hunch to the hotel, to the other hotel.
Excellent. Maybe they'll
You
have a
can take
clean
my-
bed.
we can share our bed. We can share my bed.
I will take the opportunity to change trousers.
Okay, into which? This is very important.
1 second, I will check my trouser chart.
I assume Flavio didn't get your first best pair in the end because I'm really hoping you didn't at this point.
Right, hang on a second. Trouser chart. We're going out at night, aren't we? We're going for the 6th best trousers.
Oh.
Which are grey in colour.
Okay. Yeah. Good nighttime trousers, those.
Yes. Yeah.
Fantastic. So you can get changed.
And I shall put the 4th best trousers outside the door as I leave.
As agreed with Smidgen. Absolutely fine. Yeah. As you sort of put them out, you do notice that the entire corridor is dark. The doors are shut. There is no movement, and you just hear a certain amount of snoring from the room behind you.
So it's safe to assume that maybe no one saw us safely storing Flavio to Tony's room.
Roll all three of you. Roll an education for me, please.
Oh, that's a 9 total.
Mine's a 6.
Just education?
Yes, please.
That's a 10.
Gaston, you're sort of a bit behind the two, so you didn't really see too much. You were sort of following up the stairs behind and following down the corridor behind, so your view was blocked
Writing
by
in the book.
exactly. But Rudi and Tony, you're pretty certain that no one saw you from the stairs upwards.
Hmm.
Of course, you had to go to reception, and reception is manned. But the importance of going upstairs and along the corridor at the top, no one saw.
Perhaps everyone heard us that we were escorting Mr. Flavio to his room, and now, in case someone has tried to kill him, will be falsely led at some other location. But still, the night is young. We cannot say that we prevented everyone from dying. So how about we risk our own lives and head to the cold and unforgiving dark of the outside? But what exactly, my dear Tony, do you expect to find over there?
There are 3 missions that I have.
Hmm, interesting.
One
So
is to find
interesting.
out if the act of moving towards the Carlton was the thing that triggered us resetting.
Interesting theory. Yeah, very
Is
interesting.
someone trying to stop us from getting there, in other words? One is to see if there is something inevitable, someone out there who might have to kill themselves every night on that road to the Carlton, someone we're not paying attention to, another member at the hotel who might be off right now, standing there in the snow, waiting for us to arrive as witnesses before they kill themselves.
Fascinating.
And the third possibility is this: if this is a creation where somebody has faked a version of reality for us to experience, then by walking up here, I can get beyond the reach of any realistic area of their control. I can pick out 2 or 3 things of note, things that I can keep to myself, but recognize in the environment. Things that would be impossible, too random for anybody to have predicted. And then, if we wake up doing this day for the 3rd time, I can compare them to the reality that I see in that environment and find out if they match. If they do, then we will know that that is also a fake environment, because they'll come from inside my head. If they don't, because I couldn't have known what they were, then we'll know that we're dealing with reality for the first time.
Unlike the first 2 theory hunches, meanwhile, I guess we are going towards there. We're starting to take our coats and stuff like that. We don't need to speak outside the room. I mean, and as for your third theory, could it be debunked if you, for example, uh, like scratch your hand, create a little wound, not anything terrible really, but something that cannot be overnight healed or covered. And if you do have it on tomorrow, then it lost a bit of track of his thoughts. Then he says, I really do wish that we're not bound to repeat the same day tomorrow. This was just a one time occurrence. Hmm.
If
One way to find out.
the problem is that the scratch on the hand, while accurate, would only tell me it would only give me 2 of the possibilities. One is that this is a fictional day, and so is tomorrow a fictional day, and so my brain has carried over the fiction of the scratch from one to the other.
Very
Or
well.
today is a real day and tomorrow is a real day, so it's a real scratch. And I need to know which of those is true. So if the scratch is still there, this should allow me to assess whether or not the days were fictional or the days were real.
Well, off to investigate, but allow me not to take that chance. And as soon as he finds like anything really to scratch himself, if himself does not carry anything sharp, he will make a scratch himself just to have an extra thing, you know.
Sure. It's
Okay.
the 30s, right? Everything is out to kill you. There are sharp things. There are metallic things. There's bits and pieces here and there. There's
Splendid. Then he cuts himself.
Asbestos, as far as the eye can see.
Anything too much,
Exactly.
not anything too much, but something just for the theory. And then I think we're off to the snow.
All three of you agreed in going to the snow together?
Yes, certainly I am.
Gaston will look at the two of them and look at his notepad and think back to the bottle of champagne that's sitting in his room. Think of the adventures that they've had and the tales that he's heard, and he will agree. Though before we leave, Luke, who's at reception?
It's Sylvie.
It's still Sylvie. He will, as we're on the way out, if the others don't have anything to do, he'll stop off to the desk and he'll say, Sylvie, my heartfelt apologies, but adventure calls, and he'll gesture towards the two heroes in whose company he finds himself. I had made plans, but alas, I feel the evening may get away from me. Please help yourself to the bottle of champagne in my room. With my regrets.
Ah, Monsieur Delarue, I was looking forward to some time with you when my shift finished this evening. It's where were you going at this time? Our doors are locked, and we generally do not suggest that people leave at this time of night. Would it not be better for us to enjoy a short time together this evening?
And he looks back over his shoulder to Tony and Rudi. And his heart sinks a little bit. He says,
Don't forget your coat.
It would be. It most certainly would be. But adventure and the fate of the world cannot wait.
She looks very disappointed, of course, at this. She's been looking forward to it her whole shift. Gaston is a handsome young man, after all, and receptionists don't always get asked out by such gentlemen at them, so brazenly as well. She looks at Rudi and Tony, who are sort of gathering their coats from beside the bear, because you got the coat rack there opposite the outside bar.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you and your friends should leave. I should really speak to the manager. It's very uncommon for anyone to leave at this time of night. They normally need a special agreement for such things, a real reason. It's dark. It's snowing heavily. There's nothing good can come from getting lost in the snow on a Friday evening. Surely. I'd not be
No, indeed. But the nature of my two friends here, the heroic deeds that they have already undergone in their life, is more than enough to keep us safe. And if not, it's worth the risk, though it's not worth the missing out on the pleasant company.
Roll a charisma plus a chat of all trades, please.
Oh, too kind, Luke. Too kind.
No.
It's a 6 plus 5. It's like every time, nothing else but this.
She sighs and she sort of reaches past sort of the safe that's, as we know, is set in. We've talked about this before, and over to the keys for the door. And she casts you one more set of doe eyes, Gaston. She says, "Are you sure you wish to go out into the cold with your friends?" She sort of walks to the door and starts unbolting it. Would you not rather spend some time in the warm embrace of a woman? I have been looking forward to it all evening.
As as have I, and he holds onto his heart and whips over the back of his coat as he turns and leaves with his friends.
Oh. Um, you hear her voice change slightly behind, and she says, "My shift ends in 10 minutes. If you're not, if any of you are not back by then, you'll be sleeping in the snow." And closes the door behind you, and you hear it lock.
Well, gentlemen, you heard the lady.
Yes, they seem to be looking quite fond of you. Tony, lead the way.
Okay.
If you've heard her, we don't have much time.
I will check my watch and find out, how long we've actually got in terms of 10 minutes. And then stride briskly up towards the Carlton. Will we have time to actually make it as far as the Carlton and back in 10 minutes?
Not a
Yeah,
chance.
did she send us to a death sentence? Is it possible?
Not a
Humanly
chance.
possible to go back?
The Carlton and back at a walk is going to take you at least half an hour, and that's just literally getting to the grounds and straight back again.
Yeah. Then I'm going to check the actual route up towards the Carlton, see if there's any suspicious looking figure or anyone from the hotel loitering out there.
Why don't you all roll an education? When you all roll an education, yeah, let's just keep it flat education for now.
That's a 7 for me.
It's a 5 for me.
Taking the lead, boys, with 9.
Well done.
Nice.
As the three of you blink through, the by this point the snow is very heavy. It's starting to like, if you remember before, the last time you were out was at 2 a.m. or so, and it was sort of between knee and waist height by then. This is earlier in the evening, so it's around about sort of shin height, but the snow is definitely thick. It's dark. There's no natural lights out there. It's the 30s again, and everyone's turned off for the evening. There's no street lights at this point. And Tony and Gaston, you're almost with the snow as well. You're almost like turned around and you've lost where you are in the world almost the second you look away from the hotel. Rudi, you see a bit better. Maybe it's all those years traveling around in your caravans through the countryside and things. But
here, lads.
you can see, from what you can tell, there's no figures around. And you know if that there's that thing, right, where you can see a ghostly figure reflected in water droplets, can't you? In the rain, I can't remember what it's called. In the mist, sometimes you see someone that's not really there. It's like your reflection on the mist. You don't even see that. There's no one. There's no figure.
Okay. Then, not even going far enough from the hotel to lose sight of it in the snow, in terms of distance at least, I'm going to slouch around the first corner that I can find, and make note of some relevant feature of the house doors or windows along one side of that road, the near side, effectively. So not visible from the hotel, but just something. And I will literally take out a piece of paper and I will make a note of say 3 things. Number 7 has a green door. Number 9 has 4 ground floor windows, that kind of thing, right?
Okie dokie. So coming around this end, if you're going to the Carlton, the hotel is the last thing on the way to the Carlton. If you can see that there's nothing on that way, you can walk a bit in. You can walk a little bit away from the Carlton, and there's a building there, if you want. And you can go around the other side, so therefore you couldn't see it from your hotel. So, like
Yeah.
say, right.
Just enough away so that it's not visible from the hotel.
Sure. Okay, let's give you 3 facts that you can see. You can see that the one of the window frames is slightly cracked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna write it down as well for me, so that this becomes canon now, so it's very important.
Yep.
You can see half buried in the snow is like a small children's seesaw toy.
Okay. Yep.
And you can see that the fence has been half painted. It's like someone's halfway through a job and then stopped for the evening or whatever. But
Interesting. Can I see which color of the fence is the old color and which is the new?
from what you can tell, there's sort of a like a gleaming white is new, and the old is probably used to be white, but is a much grayer, dirtier, sort of older, scabbier white.
Gotcha.
It's more a
Right.
refresh rather than a restyle.
Fair enough. Okay. Yes, that will do nicely. And the half painted fence could be absolutely ideal, in fact. So on that basis, I will turn to the others and say, I think I have everything I need. We can return to the hotel if you like.
Already, did we pass the location where Gaston de la Rue? Oh, no, sorry, Dr. Peter de Groot was murdered.
No, that was further up the road towards the Carlton, but there's nobody in that direction, and the conditions are not good enough to see far enough away from us to see if it's happening off in that way.
Rudi, since he's quite perceptive right now in the snow, maybe all that Irish vigor has invigorated him and kept him warm. He would like to see, as Tony, while Tony was doing his own research, he would like to see the window of the room number 2 to see if there is anyone there. There is any lantern illuminating the area, any shadows moving, any windows opened, who knows?
Room number 2, which would be the Great Bowman's room. Okay,
Yes.
roll an education. Hang on a sec.
I already had the 9. I placed that research
fine.
on the 9 and roll earlier.
That's fine. I'll take it.
Sure, I will roll again. I don't mind.
This is a whole different check. A whole different check, John.
I get it. All right, I have a bad feeling about this now.
Plus a
No,
cult
no,
because the
It's
Great
just a
Bowman's
6.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's
full of a cult.
You look up through the snow and you see in the window, all the other curtains are pulled except window number 2, which is open. The curtains are open. And there is a dark figure stood in the window, seemingly looking out at you, maybe, but you can't make out who it is. It's just the dark figure framed in the window.
Rudi waves.
There is absolutely no response, and it's a moment. There's that thing where like maybe Tony coming around the corner. There's the crunch of the snow that sort of takes your attention for a second. You sort of look away, and by the time you look back again, the figure's gone. To the point where you almost can't tell if it was truly there or not.
Maybe then he will give him the birdie. You know that gesture?
Yeah.
Gesture. Instead of waving, he goes like, And then, all right, let's get back then.
Yep, we need to get Gaston back to Sylvie.
I wish you would have told me it was such a short expedition. Whilst I was making such a big deal of saving the world with.
I didn't know it was going to be a short expedition until we were told we only had 10 minutes.
Well, alas, I'll don't worry. I can make something up. I'm sure.
Mm. Well, we may have, in fact, just saved the world. You know,
I concur. You never know.
it's certainly what you can tell her.
I did
That's
see
definitely
the
going
great
in.
Bauman,
Definitely going
perhaps.
in the notebook.
Well, I did see the great Bauman or someone else in the room number 2 staying awake and looking at us, perhaps through the window.
And we do very quick work.
Mm.
Perhaps we've ruined someone's plans of murder and intrigue.
Indeed.
No.
Yes.
That's true. It is. It's more of an attestment to your skills rather than
Of course.
the magnitude of the danger.
Write it
course.
down, a testament to our skills. Exactly that. That's a good
That's
headline.
going, it's going in the notebook.
As
So yes, we will return back to the hotel and head back in.
okay, as you walk to the door, even before you knock at the door, flings open, and Sylvie is framed inside, and she's got a wild and terrified look in her eyes. He says, Monsieur Monsieur Delarue, Monsieur Guerrero, Monsieur Otto, please come inside. Monsieur Esposito is on the balcony. He's threatening to jump. Please, why is he upstairs? Why is he upstairs anyway? His room's downstairs. Quick, please come inside.
Which
no.
Esposito?
We know which one.
Flavio.
Flavio.
I know.
And you can sort of hear from the dining hall. You can hear the shouting of a recognisable but slightly drunken shouting. And he was tempted by the demons for purity, but inside there's just evil. There's only evil, and he could not stand against the temptation. He gave in. There's just
Flavio,
evil.
it's your good friend Rudi. Listen to my voice, please. We've talked about this before. Remember our conversation, please.
As you sort of rush through the reception, past the coats and that, into the dining hall, you can look up and you can see that he is stood on the edge of the balcony, leaning over. He's got like something heavy sort of tied to him to sort of quicken his descent. As if he was jumping into the water. He sort of half looks down.
Is he at the balcony at the Snug?
No, there's a slight balcony over the dining hall, which I've explained before.
You're
The
right.
graphic doesn't quite work, but
Yeah.
there's a balcony that runs down the side of the dining hall. That's over the top of the dining hall, like a floor up.
Yeah. So can I, instead of heading through the dining hall, charge upstairs and try and get up to that balcony?
You can certainly charge upstairs, yes.
Okay.
Good.
Her Otto.
Yes, it's me. It's me, Flavio. Listen to my voice, please.
You have freed me to accept what is inside of me. The evil inside. You asked of evil at the table. You were right.
No.
It was in me all along, Her Otto.
Listen to me. Remember that you asked me about the bracelet? I can show it to you. I have it. It is the only artifact that can determine if a man is truly evil or not. Please give me the chance. Put it to your wrist. And identify true evil together. Just step away from the balcony.
Roll a charisma, please. A flat charisma.
That charisma. It has to work. 6. Someone give me a boon.
I don't believe you, Her Otto. Everything you said today you're lying to me. Why would you lie to me? And he sort of pulls one of his legs over, so he's sort of dangling over the dining hall.
No.
There's only one way, Her Otto. Tony.
I'm going to charge along to the balcony if I can.
You can.
And burst into it.
Okay.
as soon as I get onto it, how far away am I from him?
Along sort of there and that, you're probably 8 meters or so.
And he's got one leg over the edge.
He's got both legs over the edge now. He had one already, but Rudi has. He's very much. He's sort of holding on by. He's got one arm sort of holding on, the other arm holding whatever heavy thing he's got around him, and both legs over the side. And Sylvia's screaming at this point, of course.
Will
Okay.
Gatsman try and steer Sylvie back to reception?
What I'm going to try to do,
Certainly attempt to.
I'm not going to yell anything to attract his attention. I'm hoping that his attention will be focused on Rudi and he won't see me coming, at least not until it's too late. And I'm going to charge along and literally just try and tackle him around the bulk of him and pull him and me back over the top of the balcony.
Okay. I need you to roll an agility with daring do, please.
Agility is not really my strength, has to be said. But daring do I do have. I have.
It is daring though.
It is very daring.
It's very daring.
I do have a daring, so that's a +2 in total. Let's hope for the best. Oh, that's not terrible. That's a total of 8.
Okay. As you sort of charge over to him, and you sort of see him start to fall as you sort of reach him, and you with that extra bit of daring do, you would have lost him, but you sort of managed to sort of almost like pull yourself out over the balcony, and you sort of half catch him as you hit into the balcony. You briefly have your hand on his, I don't know, like a bit of clothing on his shoulder or something, but the weight of it is extreme. Of course, he's carrying this thing. You've bought yourself a moment. Can you please roll strength for me, please? You've got a boon, so roll two dice and keep your highest.
Okay.
With your
My
strength.
strength is 2, so just wondering if there's anything else I can apply here. I don't think there is.
There's not at this.
No, okay. Just pure strength. Okay. I mean, it was a very good roll, but it's still only an 8. A 6 and a 5 with a pair.
That's a very good roll.
Yeah.
And it's good enough that you managed to keep hold of him. Unfortunately, the weight of that boulder, you feel your legs tipping over behind you as well. And you sort of feel your feet lifting off the ground as he sort of stares you cold in the eyes. And he's just like, evil, evil, evil. We are evil, Monsieur Guerrero. We are evil, you and I. And you're pulled over the balcony by him, and you both crash to the ground. And everything goes dark. It is December 1937, just over half a year since the fateful voyage of the SS Cairns that left numerous innocent and not so innocent people dead, and numerous pairs of Tony Guerrero's trousers ruined beyond the capabilities of the best dry cleaners in Milan. I know little of what Tony and Rudi did for the months following their journey across the Mediterranean. I'm neither their servant or accountant. However, it's in the November of 1937 when I heard their names spoken of once more. I've been starting to wonder what amazing adventures they may have found themselves wrapped up in when I heard tell of their invitation to speak at an academic symposium at the Carlton Hotel in St-Moritz, Switzerland. St-Moritz, of course, at the peak of its glory, after the 1928 Winter Olympics, enjoying global appeal and lure. With their minds full of hot fondue and ice-cold schnapps in the beautiful mountains, our hero accepted their invitation and met together to prepare a day of tales, truths, exaggerations, daring do, and archaeological knowledge to wow even the most hardened academic. When the time came to make the journey, they met up in Milan and took the train ride together up into Switzerland and through the majestic mountains towards the glamorous St. Moritz. Taking a taxi from the station, they arrived on the Wednesday afternoon with enough time to settle into a small Le Petit Grand Hotel, cursing their luck slightly that the world-famous Carlton Hotel was already full of the hundreds of the other delegates to the symposium. They cursed their luck even more when the room they were given came furnished with but one, albeit luxurious bed. They'd been invited to speak. They arrived early on the early afternoon of Wednesday the 1st. They spoke to the apologetic manager with the one bed, who was only able to provide them with a twin room from Saturday night onwards. It appeared our heroes would be keeping each other warm for a couple of cold Swiss winter nights. The Thursday night saw our heroes eating at Chaise Veglia, a converted farmhouse, the oldest farmhouse in St. Moritz. Truly splendid local cuisine that even put the Carltons' fine dining at lunchtime to shame. After a night spent sharing warmth against the cold, snowy night outside, our heroes woke early, but slightly bleary-eyed for the entire day in the spotlight. Now, dear viewers, it is not my place as humble narrator to tell you how beguiled and entranced the hundreds of great academic minds in the audience were. I shall leave that to our heroes themselves, if they so wish. Nor can I tell you of what they said happened to the mythical bracelet, for I've been kicked out for not having a ticket for the event by that point. Needless to say, though, they were a success from what I heard, having to answer questions from the huge crowd for hours in the afternoon and early evening. But this is where I'm able to pick up with them again, returning to the humble Le Petit Grand that Friday evening for their evening meal. From now on, our story is shared and is theirs to tell as much as it is mine. So all I will do is set the scene in the dining room of Le Petit Grand and then hand over to our fair heroes. It is beautiful inside the dining hall at Le Petit Grand. There is a roaring fire at one end of the room, and the pine walls are setting off a beautiful scent with the beautiful greenery draped around as Christmas is coming. The tables are full of attendees to the symposium, people that are staying at the hotel and day visitors alike, all crowded in to enjoy the evening meal. Our heroes, Tony, Rudi, and young Gaston Delarue, are sat at the table by the fire, awaiting their meal. And this is, my dear friends, is where we shall join them for this evening.
Gaston just falls with his head into his hands at the table.
I guess that we have our memories, right?
Yes.
Like same as last time.
Yes.
Okay, if Johnny's did like fall from the cliff, it was like was knocked out or something. What did Rudi and Gaston experience? What's the last thing that they remember? I'm asking for Rudi, like for what's the last thing that Rudi?
Now this is interesting for Rudi. I just got to put my guns out first.
Yeah, the important things. Forget the time limit.
This is important for Rudi because last time he just went to bed incredibly drunk and slept through the whole thing. Gaston, what happened to Gaston the first time is exactly what happens to the both of you two. It just felt like you were knocked out and then you came to immediately. Almost like someone clocked you around the back of the head. No pain, but an instant loss of consciousness. And then within a second, boom, you're back again. It's very jarring.
Tony, like a fool, will start to touch the back of his head, looking for a bump or something, and waving his hand around to see if he's concussed. Has been concussed lots of times before in his life, during sparring, never during a fight, because he has been undefeated. But you know what I'm trying to do right now. He's trying to figure out.
What was Rudi Otto's record in the end?
I think it was around 10-0. It was undefeated.
10-0 if we include train.
Invincible!
All right. So yeah, I guess no bumps.
I am invincible!
The scratch. Also the scratch.
There
His
are
hand.
there are no bumps. There are no bumps.
What about the scratch?
Ah, the scratch is gone.
Uh-oh. Scratch is gone. He turns around to Ben and shows the place where the scratch should be in his forearm.
Yeah.
What is this?
Obviously, I'm going to make the assumption that if I glance at the place in the dining room we'd have landed, there's no puddle of blood, no broken furniture, nothing like that, right?
Nothing like that at all. No. It's exactly as Friday afternoon began.
Okay.
What pair of trousers does Tony have on? Gaston will
I will check my trouser
out the
sheet. Hang on a
corner of
second.
peer out the corner of his hands just to double check.
The second best trousers,
Oh.
which were ruined on the first evening, saved on the second evening from being ruined.
Yeah.
Rudy is starting to write again on his notes. I guess that the last pages that he wrote are empty now.
They're
He has to create
all-
that diagram
all
again
gone.
or something.
Yep, all your scrawlings, the charts and everything, all gone.
He creates them again, but this time he places another theory, and he doesn't speak it out loud. He only shows it to both Gaston and Tony. He actually paints a bracelet in the middle of the page, and starts with the main thesis of a theory that is everything actually resolves around the bracelet. Both their antagonist Bauman or whoever is behind this desire to find it, and the whole symposium was the reason that they were here was around the bracelet itself. And like a madman, starts to connecting some dots, creating conspiracy theories on his paper or his notebook. But in the middle there is something that resembles a notebook, like a halo thing, whatever.
Got you. Cool. Fantastic.
And he looks at them with eyes like that, but he doesn't say anything.
As you're sat making the notes and the others are sitting, the waiting staff start making their way out, and Philippe, who you know from Thursday, comes out to your table, and he, Monsieur Otto, Monsieur Guerrero, Monsieur Delarue, would any of you like a drink before you start eating this evening?
He hides his notes like that. No drink. No drinking, no thank you.
Okay.
Not for me, thank you.
Rudi will officially start having a crazy eye from now on, like a brown, like and maybe a little bit of twitching, moving.
Yeah. A bit of a tick going on.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at the other two, some degree of disbelief, and say, well, I need a drink. And I'm going to say, could you bring me a bottle of champagne, please?
Wow, Monsieur Guerrero, I'm not surprised. I did hear your presentation today was excellent. Of course. How many glasses, sir?
None, thank you.
We have no ships to launch around here, sir.
Well, that's good news. I won't be wasting it then.
Very good, sir. It doesn't go very well with the beef, sir. Just in case you were wondering.
It turns out that in my experience, that just means you haven't had enough of it.
I shall get some for you immediately, sir. Immediately.
Thank you.
And Philippe heads off to get the champagne.
Gaston will turn to Tony and Rudi and will say, if you'll excuse me for a brief moment, I have a theory, but I have something to test.
Mm-hmm.
Care to share before you test it? I'm all about theories right now.
I'm just. I seem to remember. I seem to remember last time, briefly after the our good friend Philippe here arrived, that we left to the outside bar, and shortly afterwards the weather changed. I mean, I have no doubt that we are in fact now in the same day, but this for me would, if it started snowing again soon, this for me would seal the deal, I believe.
This would seal the deal. Don't you have enough proof already? It's the
Well,
time that this is happening. I have to
I know,
admit,
but
from all the adventures that we had before you joined us, Gaston, you've met us in one most particular, most bizarre, one that will find us all mad, or we're going to solve it.
You hear a pop and a cheer from the table to the top of the dining hall, where the Espositos have just popped open their own bottle and have started drinking in celebration. They try and catch your eyes to raise a glass, a toast to our fine speakers today. Flavio smiles and winks at the two of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Rudi looks at them like that and writes notes.
I'm going to just mention to Rudi, or just say to Rudi, Sylvie was pretty defensive about people leaving last night. And the last time we saw Flavio, before, the last time we saw Flavio, he was in our bedroom. So I have to ask the question, where did he get a big rock?
Was it like a rock or something inside the hotel? You didn't actually specify, GM, what
It
was
was
the heavy object.
Just said heavy object, and no one ever asked. It's a heavy object.
Something that could have been found inside the hotel.
I thought you said it was a boulder. Okay.
Heavy object.
Right.
I was very careful about that, I believe.
Yeah, I've noticed.
you were.
So what was it? I think we had a chance to look at it.
Gaston, did you say you wanted to attempt something while there's silence going on? I didn't know if it was my turn. I was making a note about something. Sorry, bad GM. Sorry. But while they're thinking, silence is bad. Come on.
Yeah, Gaston's gonna after he's excused himself, he's gonna make his way out to reception.
Oh. So you walk past the tables. As it was before, you walk past De Groot and Van Beek, who are sitting down to their first glass of wine. And then you go past Claire Spelling, who is sat with Julian Peters at the next table. And then there's a table with some randoms on, of course. And then you go out through the door and you go out past the row of coats with waiting staff there beside, ready to hand out coats as needed. And past our beloved bear, of course. Slightly threadbare, but quite grand nonetheless. Some wag has put a hat on top of him, and there's an umbrella draped off one of his arms. A once brave and proud beast, made to be a terrible tool for humans. and you go into the reception. And behind the reception is someone you recognise. It is Sylvie.
Is anyone at the desk currently?
Yes, Sylvie.
Apart, yeah, but there's nobody. She's not
No, she's not.
talking to anybody.
She's not serving anyone. You walked past the last couple that were coming in for the evening meal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He'll somewhat hurriedly walk up and he'll say, "Excuse me, mademoiselle. This may seem like a very strange request, but I get that warm, exciting feeling just before a snowfall. You know, that beautiful moment where the first flakes of snow fall from the sky, and I feel it's a moment that can only be made more beautiful by your presence. Please, could you join me in the outside bar for a brief moment?"
Roll a charisma, please, with chat of all trades.
Oh, that's pretty good. It's the classic 6 plus 5 is 11.
Oh,
Just
I think
rubbish
on
and
all,
everything
on all
else.
timelines, you flirted. You flirted with
I feel as though my
the
dice are caught up in the timeline.
fixed point.
Monsieur Delarue, I am allowed a couple of breaks during my shift to take the air and to take the air. So I would love to take one of those opportunities now. I've just served. I think I've taken the last booking for the evening, so I do have a few minutes. I shall take the air with you. And she sort of flips the something on the reception, back in 5, and she follows you through, reaching into her pocket for her cigarette case, where she's going to take the air in a classic Ben Slide approach. And
Of course, he'll
of course,
offer the door first.
she nods and smiles as she steps out onto the outside bar, which has one or two people there. The bar is there. It's manned, and there's one or two people there, but not too much. And it's cold, but it's cloudy, but it's not snowing as it stands. And she goes to light a cigarette, but she pauses to offer you the gentlemanly approach, if you so wish.
He will, of course, naturally.
All because the lady loves milk
A
tray.
cigarillo case and light one of his own. Look up at the sky. Can you feel the excitement in the air before that snow?
Oh, Monsieur Delarue, I can certainly feel excitement in the air. Do you work for Ce Soir, Monsieur Delarue? Do you work as a weatherman for the paper?
No. Sometimes I just get these hunches. A good journalist always knows to trust their gut and their hunches.
As the two of you stand there, taking sort of quite short drags on a cigarette, almost as if she's waiting for the moment to sort of last longer, I guess. She leans on the balcony and she sort of looks out at the mountains in the distance, and she looks back at you. Are you enjoying your time here, Monsieur Delarue?
It's been wonderful. I feel as though I don't want it to end.
Fat Johns.
We're very pleased to have you all here. It's been a wonderful time at the hotel. It's so wonderful to have such life and vibrancy here, and you especially, Monsieur Delarue, have been a wonderful guest. Your kindness to the staff has been noted by everyone.
You and speaking to Luke, has my kindness to the staff been noted by anyone?
Yeah.
Would I believe this to be a thing that, in the time that I have been here, assuming that it's Friday, that would be a reasonable thing for someone to say?
He did arrive later than everyone else, but he has still been there for a day or two. And
Okay.
if you remember the start of the first session, when you're interacting with Philippe, everything you've ever done has been incredibly polite and generous and kind. So yes, you could fully believe it.
Okay, cool.
As
Thanks.
Sock says, you are a smooth operator, but a bit pastier in real life than we would expect.
Mm. Indeed. You're it's far too kind of you. It's far too kind. I can't think of such a wonderful setting that I've ever stayed in before. It's moments like this that bring real pleasure to the job.
I'm
Looking
glad.
up at the sky.
You know, Monsieur Delarue, I think I have the same feeling too. That moment before, so I almost feel certain that the snow is about to fall. I almost feel like I know the snow is going to fall. I can't place it in my head, but I would almost put money on the snow falling now. And as she finishes that sentence, as she's looking at you, the first flake literally falls between your eye lines staring at each other. And at that point, as your eyes catch with the snow falling, we're going to finish for the evening.
It's glorious, Luke.
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful stuff. So many more questions.
Well, the next one has to be, not like in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yes. Oh, that was fantastic. Thank you, Luke.
No,
Yes,
thank
that was
you.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Magnifique.
You're very forgiving of my annoyance. So thank you. You're very kind.
No, I love it. It's perfect. It's not even annoying. It's just it just brings so many questions.
I've never had the experience of playing a Groundhog Day scenario before,
Yeah.
and trust me when I say, at least at least in one of those loops, he will knock out the Great Bowman. I don't know if it's gonna be this one or anyone later, but
But
he
it's-
will knock him out. Mark
It,
my words. Be prepared for that.
it may be just me, but at some point I'm tempted to literally just, when we spring into existence, walk over to Bauman and just lamp him straight across the table.
what did I do? What did I do?
I think that definitely happens in a Groundhog Day, doesn't it? Where he's just, carefree and
Yeah, Ned.
be damned with
He
the
does
repercussions.
he does it to Ned a couple of times. He sort of
Yeah.
just steals the groundhog sometimes. Yeah, starts robbing stuff from the money, doesn't he, and stuff. Yeah. I look
I'm
forward to the
starting to have some crazy theories out of game,
good.
which will translate in game around his bracelet theory. And can't wait to figure out the truth.
Mm.
Bastard
Definitely.
Bauman, it's not gonna get away.
Right. Let's make sure we do another one of these not in the not too distant future then before we all forget the bits
Definitely.
again.
Agreed. Hopefully, maybe by the end of this month or early next month.
I'll tell you what, we might be able to. We're in discussion about what we could do in the May. There's two things we want to try and fit in, but that does leave another month. So maybe we could do another one quite soon.
Yeah, that would be brilliant.
Yeah, should we do that?
That would be good.
Nice one. What we are planning to do, and there's been discussion, so it's not going to be a surprise, is in June or July, we're going to do, like we did a month of the Night Witches, we're going to do a chunk of Cyberpunk. We're going to try that out. So I'm only saying that because Sox is here,
Ooh.
and we're going to
Cyberpunk.
open it up for people. John, you're welcome to. We'll open when we get the dates and that. We'll open it up for any of you to jump in for a session or 2 or 3. So that'll be in our Discord. So any of our crew are more than welcome to join us. We need to get the final details out, but we have discussed all this. It's details, isn't it? It's details.
Details. Yeah.
Details.
Details.
Interesting.
Exactly. It does sound fun. Socks does sound fun. But speaking of details, I've got lots of notes to write up. I need to leave these guys pulling all their hair out, and we shall be back. Our next role play is Traveller on Friday, I think, unless something.
Yes, I think that's
Oh,
right.
no, hang on, Ewan
Uh,
can't. Something's different. On
Yeah, no, it's
Friday.
not Traveller this Friday, I'm afraid.
We're gonna need
Okay,
to...
so it may be Toxic City then if you're around, Luke.
Oh yeah, toxicity. Yeah,
We'll do that.
fantastic. Excellent. Sounds good.
And are you with us on Saturday, Ewan?
I am, yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
John. We'll try. I reckon. Yeah, maybe in a few weeks' time or something, we could squeeze something in. I think that would be very good. It'd be nice to carry this on. So
That would be epic.
yeah,
Great.
we do need another Cecil in Cecil at some point, Socks.
Yes, we do have to do another one of those.
Mm.
Cool. Right. We will see you all soon. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Socks. Thank you, anyone that's still in chat. We appreciate you all. Thank you for joining us on this lovely, cozy evening. Have one last self hug that we did earlier. Take your arms, give yourself a little cuddle, finish the remnants of your wine or whatever you're drinking, and we'll see you all soon. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.